I've been here 30 years doing the pitch. The only thing that's really changed is the equipment has got better, and the funding from the Football Foundation has helped grassroots football. Well, I think that to start with, you have to that's the pitch improvement scheme, and to start with, you have to do trial tests at least twice a year and send the results in. That then triggers off what they recommend you do to the pitch, and it also triggers off the funding. I think we were one of the first clubs to have the funding. That was over a 6-year period, and I'm now in my last year of that 6-year period. I think we're down to about £350 left to spend. But even £350 does help. That's helping. A lot of clubs we go around, you know, they're in the same position that we're in. They've had the funding, and like our pitch, the pitch is improving through that funding. I think at the minute, the only disappointing side of it is, say, like I said, we're at the end of our funding period, and it doesn't look as though there's going to be anything following on from that. So that'd be interesting to see what happens. But certainly the funding is a big help to grassroots football. It is because everything has gone up in the world in terms of the material costs, fuel costs. So any funding that is available does help. We're very lucky here. We are very well got very good sponsors for kit and that sort of thing for the players, but you don't really get much sponsorship locally for work that goes onto the pitch. And I've always said, without a good pitch to play on, that you want the best pitch possible for your team. Well, when I was at work, if we had a big match coming up on the Saturday and I could spare the time, I would take the Friday off as holiday to prepare the pitch. It's when you're to try and match the two together. When you're at work, you have to do the jobs when you've got time to do them. I'm in the lucky position where I've retired, so I can actually do the jobs when they want doing rather than when I've got time to do them, which that makes a big difference. Definitely, yeah, because you can only prepare the pitch to the best of your abilities, be it in terms of materials, equipment, and time you've got to spend on that pitch. And everybody's got other things in life they need to be. We've got families and need things they need to be doing. So you just prepare the pitch to the best of your ability with the facilities you've got available. Oh, definitely. Whether it's your own players, the opposition players, the match officials, they turn up and they say, "Cool, the pitch looked nice today, Steve. Really looking forward to playing on it." That's all the thanks you need. And like I said before, we're in a goldfish bowl down here. You've got the sea defence wall there. Summertime, you've probably got 150, 200 people walking along there, looking down, and you've only got to have a little line that's not quite right, and I will go and put that right, because, as I say, you're in the goldfish bowl and everybody's looking at you. I come down here most mornings at 7:30, and I'll probably spend 2 or 3 hours each day doing something either on the pitch or in the clubhouse. Being chairman, you sort of have lots of things to juggle as well as the pitch, but the pitch is my main priority, and so I'll spend 2 or 3 hours nearly every day on the pitch. Hence, that's why it's like it is. It can be interesting sometimes. You can't always fall out with yourself, but I suppose I'm lucky, really, that I'm chairman, groundsman, caretaker. I tend to do what needs to be done. My wife is secretary, and she became secretary so she could see me more, because she'd come down here to see me. So yeah, it's a juggling act sometimes, but with the finances as well. So if you want, I have put my own money into the club sometimes, just if I want some fertiliser and the club has not got that money to spare for fertiliser, I'll go out and buy it myself. But the biggest challenge this time of year will be coming up in the next few weeks is the arrival of all the Brent geese. They can be an absolute nightmare. They're all right when they first come because they feed on the sugar beet tops and potatoes that are out in the fields. But once they're all gone, they then turn to grass, and nice lush grass tends to bring them in here. And I've just bought myself a gas banger. I've had scarecrows up. I've had all sorts of things up. They can be worse than an actual football match. So that's one of the nightmares that we have been so close to the coast. They're only here for a few months, but they do cause a lot of damage, or can cause a lot of damage if you don't keep them off the pitch. Seems to be getting worse. Yeah. We had last year was the worst I've ever known it. They tend to come on here in the afternoons. Dog walkers will walk over the back on the fields where they're allowed to walk the dogs, and that brings them over here. So unless there's somebody here to stir them up again, they'll sit here the biggest part of the afternoon, and they can decimate the pitch in 2 or 3 hours. You get a bit of salt in the air, and a lot of the fertiliser have salt in it. So I don't think, and then 78 the pitch was actually flooded when the bank gave way, so you had all the salt water that you can imagine on the pitch. Didn't really cause any major problems other than we had to move to play at a different ground while everything was put back together again. And we actually had a fishing boat come through the bank when the bank gave way, came onto the pitch, wait till the tide all come through, and then went up to the gate with his boat moored up, jumped off and went on for his tea. So that was in 1978. We are one of the very, very few clubs in the country that are below sea level, which can cause issues. A lot of people come down here and they think because we're only a mile away from the beach, a lot of people think this is sand underneath here, but this is actually heavy clay. And in this bottom goalmouth here, that is blue clay, not too far down below the surface. So we've invested, with help from the Football Foundation, we've got a nice big spiker, and I will spike this now, that'll probably be my next job on the pitch. Now we've had a little bit of rain, I'll probably spike this at least once a month, possibly twice. I've seen all sorts of issues over the years. So I had 42 years in the industry, and I've seen all sorts of different things crop up, different problems crop up, and there is always a way to find out the best way of, the internet nowadays is a marvellous thing if you don't know the exact answer, but I think I've got knowledge to cover most problems. Definitely, especially last year, I normally overseed this with at least about 8 to 10 bags of Barnbrug multi-sport, and it was so dry and hard this last spring that I only used a couple of bags, one in each goalmouth. So yeah, I think, and we've got I haven't got a borehole or anything. It's something we did look at a few years ago, but we've had grants and that from different sources. We've now got solar panels, so that was more important to save money for the club than having a borehole. But I certainly would love a borehole, and that would make a big difference in maintaining the pitch. The seasons are certainly changing big time. Yeah, you can hire a lot of stuff in nowadays, but obviously that costs. I've picked up quite a lot of machinery being in the industry over the years. The tractor I've got actually belongs to me. The mower we had a grant for, that belongs to the football club. The spiker we had a grant for, that belongs to the football club. Everything else, the quadruplay and the flat blade and everything else, and the fertiliser spreader and a 6-metre boom sprayer, that all belongs to me. So I suppose the club are lucky, and I use my knowledge on getting the equipment that I need. People come down, people even now say, why do you do what you do? And I do it because I enjoy it. People will go out and spend £4,000 or £5,000 on a gun to go clay pigeon shooting. they don't do nothing for me. I'd rather spend £4,000 or £5,000 down here making the pitch look as best as I can possibly do with the resources I've got available.